Batten down the hatches because it's raining sports talk here at UVC TV 19. When you dry yourselves off, we'll politely welcome you into UMass Sports Weekly, your #1 source for all things UMass sports. I'm your host, Tommy Kaludi, and let's sail this ship right into Minuteman Cove. First, we'll talk about the first win of the season for the UMass football team and give you lucky audience members a preview as to what it's like to be in the press room. Then, we'll have Alex Francisco give you a key look into what the Minutemen are like behind the scenes and see just how they are when they're with each other. After that, Allie Furlow comes on to talk about the streaking Minutewomen field hockey team, who've been on a bit of a fade lately, losing a couple of games. And then, Phil Sanzo, our dual reporter, will finish off the show talking a little men's and mostly women's soccer. Oh, somebody just yelled "Lan Ho" into my earpiece, so it looks like it's time to start the show. This is UMass Sports Weekly.
This is UMass Sports Weekly.
Welcome back to our humble abode. On Saturday afternoon, the UMass Minutemen had their first game of the season right here at McGurk Stadium. Blake Fronapple threw for over 300 yards, Mark and Michelle caught 2 touchdown passes, and Tajay Sharp set the single-game UMass record for receptions with 15 in one game. I'm here with Xander Manning. Xander, how you doing right now?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
How you doing after that win? How you feeling?
Hey, they won a game. They won a game.
So, Xander, I want to start off. This game was definitely one of their most well-played games this season. Why do you think that was the case? What propelled them to this victory?
Honestly, everything was clicking. Honestly, everything seemed to be going right for this team. Offense was doing well. Offensive line was cooperating with that offense.
I know you've had a problem with that offensive line.
That offensive line, I do have a bit of a beef with them. You know, they didn't seem to be able to pick it up, but in this game they certainly did. Kicking was doing well. Logan Laurent hit that 48-yard field goal. And defense, they were just shut down in this game. They just did what they needed to do all game long.
Yeah, that defense really did shut down Alex Magoo and FIU. So, Xander, we always like to do this. I want you to break it down for the audience. You know, what are your takeaways from this game? What can us Minutemen's fans look at and say, you know, can we see this going forward?
They can definitely see the passing game. Blake Fronapple has shown that he's willing to adjust, not only to when he gets the time, but when he doesn't have the time. He works outside the pocket. He goes for a little run. He's a little more flexible now. And he also has more targets than just Tajay Sharp. Like you said, Mark and Michelle with the 2 touchdown passes. Guy I talked about in the first show, about a guy to look out for so far this season. Another thing you want to look out for, this front 7. They were clicking in this game. Front 7 was doing what they needed to do, and they were obviously a huge piece in this win.
So, Xander, they did win this weekend, but there's always room for improvement. I mean, no game's perfect. So, what can the Minutemen look forward to working on for their next game?
Well, they got to work on their fumble control. They got to work on their ball control. Mostly, this team, they've had some trouble holding on to the ball. Although they did win, you did see a good game this weekend, and they did perform very well. They got to work on their fumble control. They fumbled the ball twice against FIU this weekend, and they just got to control that against a Bowling Green team that's extremely solid on defense and a game that they're going to be facing a huge offense at the same time.
Yeah, Xander, I mean, Bowling Green is going to be one of their top MAC-10 opponents this year. So, you know, last year Bowling Green edged us on homecoming week. That one still hits me right here. That was a tough one to watch. But, you know, Xander, what do the Minutemen need to do in order to beat Bowling Green and avenge last year's loss?
Well, it's pretty much the same thing I talked about last week with FIU. You got to shut down this offense. They've got a good run attack. They've got a good pass attack. You got to shut down everything there. Not only that, but they beat a Maryland team. They beat the University of Maryland this season, and although that is a bit of a football program that's going a bit downhill these days, it's still a tough team to beat these days. They also beat Buffalo last week, also a very tough team to beat in their first conference matchup of the season. But they're a good offensive team. Their defense is a little bit weak at points, and really my keys for this game is they've got to exploit that defense, take advantage of their little weaknesses in the secondary, but also shut down this offense.
Well, thank you very much, Xander. I mean, if Blake Fronapple and Tajay Sharp keep connecting the way they have, we're in for a treat.
Should be in for a good season.
Now, we have a treat for you, Minuteman fans. After this short break, Alex Francisco will be back with some quotes from the Minutemen press conference, and you'll get to see just how the guys are after a win. We'll be right back. And we're back. After what seemed like mission impossible, Alex Francisco and I were able to get into the media room after the game at McGurk Stadium. Alex and I were able to interview a couple of the players, and she's going to give us a little bit of an in-depth look at what these guys are like off the field. So I want to introduce Alex. Alex, how are you?
Thanks, Tommy. I'm doing well.
I'm doing pretty well, too.
So, Tommy, you and I were there. It's really different in that post-game press conference after a win. These guys came in with the biggest smiles on their face. They were laughing, joking with each other, slapping each other on the back. It was a totally different energy than anything we've seen so far this season. And you could tell they were really eager to get done with our questions and get back into that locker room to celebrate. Here's what Tajay Sharp had to say about his record-breaking performance.
Words can't even put it into perspective how it feels. I'm still just trying to live in the moment and try to enjoy this win. It just felt so great. It just like all this hard work it just all synced in. And we still have a lot of work to do, but we're gonna enjoy this win. It just puts a smile on my face because I trust in this guy sitting right here next to my right that no matter who it is, he's gonna get him the ball in the right position to make a play for this team. So we spread the ball around today, and teams couldn't really double me or anything like that because Markin out there making plays and the rest of the guys. So it's a beautiful feeling.
So that was a little bit of a look in there at Tajay Sharp. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We're not geniuses here. We're just people. So bear with us. So Alex, give us a look into what was Tajay Sharp, possible NFL draft pick, like behind the scenes?
Just giddy. That's the only word I could use to describe it. He just was so excited, obviously not only about his performance, but about just the team game they played. The best performance we've seen so far this season. And, usually Blake Fronapple is just all business in these press conferences, but not on Saturday. Same thing with him. His eyes really lit up with excitement when he was talking about the kick from Logan Laurent and also about his connection with Tajay. We'll take a look at that now.
That's huge, especially it was his first time kicking this year, and he came in kind of just ice in his veins. It's almost like it didn't bother him at all. And just kind of have that kid up there. We back up 5 yards, and he's still smiling. He was like, "Well, it's more yards now." He's like laughing about it, and you're like, "All right, sounds good." And then just go out there and drill that. It probably would have been good from 55, 60 the way he hit it. Just running a locker room like that. It was definitely a good momentum shift. For us, I think it's if they're going to single them, just keep throwing the ball to them, and just keep doing work. 15 for 159. That's pretty impressive. And you finally got in the end zone. So it took him a while, but he finally got in the end zone. So just the thing with him is he's a great receiver. I'm lucky that I have these two with me.
So Alex, we just heard from Blake. Both of those guys seem happy out of their minds to have that first win. So what can we look at going forward? Is this something that they can build off of, this momentum that they got from that win?
It seems like, Tommy, that after Saturday, this is a completely different team. These guys got a taste of winning, and they really liked it. I'm really excited to see what they do next week in Ohio.
All right, well, thank you very much for that. It's a great weekend to cover football, a great game for the Minutemen, and hopefully we'll see a lot more wins to come. Stay tuned, because right after this, we'll be talking some women's field hockey. Don't touch that dial. I knew the audience was coming. This weekend, the UMass Minutewomen field hockey team took on number 9 Louisville in a matchup that did not go the Minutewomen's way. Unfortunately, they dropped this game, and their record in the past 4 games is now only 1-3. I'm here with our field hockey analyst, Allie Furlow. Now, Allie, it seems like the Minutewomen suffered a really tough loss. Like I said, 1-3 skid. They're struggling right now. In a long string of what has been struggles, what happened Sunday?
With Sunday, it just seemed like Louisville outshot, outscored, and just outplayed the Minutewomen. Louisville outshot the women 10-6, and as well as Louisville outscored 1-0. Louisville also had many offensive penalties, 9 of them, versus the 3 offensive penalties that the UMass Minutewomen had. So,
it seems like Louisville dominated the entire game. Usually when we talk about players who stand out, we look at it in more of a positive capacity, but clearly there wasn't much positive in this game. What stood out to you from the Minutewomen perspective?
Well, for the Minutewomen, it seemed like Shauna Rankin-Burns, Sarah Hawkshaw, and goalie Sam Carlino were the real standouts to the game. Burns and Hawkshaw both had 2 shots on goal. Unfortunately, they did not produce anything for the Minutewomen, and Sam Carlino had 4 saves. For Louisville, Nicole Woods had 4 shots on goal, and she had the #1 goal in the second half, which secured the win for Louisville.
Now, I know this isn't something that we usually talk about, but what was it about Louisville? I mean, did it look like they were just an overall better team than the Minutewomen?
It seemed to be that way. They were able to bring the ball up the field. Like I said, they were able to outshoot them, and it just seemed like they were just in it to win it.
Now, like we keep saying, move on to the next game. The Minutewomen play later on this week. What do they have to do to get back into contention for a tournament berth?
Well, so this week, the Minutewomen will be playing the Lock Haven Bald Eagles. This is an A-10 conference game, so it does mean a lot for the Minutewomen. The Bald Eagles do have an 11-2 record, losing to only Richmond and St. Joseph. But the UMass Minutewomen beat St. Joseph last week, so this could be a really good game.
Well, thank you very much, Allie. And I mean, Lock Haven was a team that the Minutewomen beat last year, so hopefully they can flip things around. I mean, I have a deep empathy for this field hockey team, and it really hurts me to see them struggle. Thank you very much, Allie. All right, we'll be right back, and then when we do come back, our dual analyst, Phil Sanzo, will be here to talk about the struggles of the Minutemen field hockey team, and then talk about the bright side, the Minutewomen soccer team. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back, mateys. As you can see, I tried to do like a water theme for this, but it's been scattered, so I apologize for that. The Minutemen soccer team has been less than ideal this season. They are currently 1-9 and lost another game this weekend. Phil, a difficult 2-0 loss. Tell me, what was the issue in this game?
Well, Tommy, I'm going to go rogue on you for a second and say, let's go Yankees. Very big game tonight for the Bombers. Back to your question. I'm filling in for Tim here. What I can tell you about the UMass men's soccer team is that they lost. Again, the offense was bad. Again, that is all.
Well, I mean, Phil, we don't want to dwell on the negatives.
No.
That has never worked for anybody. So
No.
Let's go to the positives. Women's soccer. Jackie Bruno, one of the team's leaders, one of the leading scorers last season. She left early this year because of injury. Now she's back. How important is Jackie Bruno's early return to this team?
Well, the Minutewomen soccer team right now is 4-3, yet their biggest win of the season was getting Jackie Bruno back early. Without a doubt, Jackie Bruno was predicted to miss the entire season with Lyme's disease, and having her back early, while she might not be the offensive player as she was, she's still recovering from this injury. She's going to attract attention, Tommy. She's going to attract attention away from the younger players and less experienced players on this offense and maybe get the ball rolling a little more. And if anything, she's the best player on the team. You're going to see a stat come up in a little bit that Jackie Bruno, in her season so far, she has been the best. In her 30 years here, she's a senior now, she has had 11 goals, 4 assists, and 26 points in the 60 games she's played. It's great stats for her and best offensive player on the team. So definitely she's going to attract attention. She's going to provide a little bit of spark being that best player, and don't be surprised if she scores some key goals later on.
So, Phil, Jackie Bruno comes back, and then you have last weekend's actions. Pretty exciting weekend for women's soccer.
Absolutely.
What did we see last weekend?
You saw 2 really good overtime games. UMass split them basically. One, the first one against LaSalle, and then tied Richmond. Being LaSalle, they both show resiliency in both the games. It's pretty much the story. Aside from Jackie Bruno returning, they showed that they can be a resilient team in these conference games. LaSalle was the first conference team they faced this season. They have the rest of their schedule consists of conference teams. So to start off on the right foot with LaSalle, they tied Richmond, but they played good. They played good soccer throughout. They kept it going to 2 overtimes in both games. So we know they can stick with teams. So hopefully they can do that.
And, Phil, Jackie Bruno comes back. She gets her legs under her. You never know what this team
Absolutely.
can do. So like you said, conference games going forward. What can we look forward to for this team?
Well, right now, they're going to go forward in the conference games. The majority of them are going to be away on the road. And right now, the Minutewomen are 0-3 on the road. So if they're going to want to get going in the rest of the conference games, if they want to make a push in the A-10 tournament And in this conference, they're going to have to start winning road games, Tommy. Right now, they haven't won any, and the rest are on the road, like I said. They finished 3-3-2 last season in their last 8 games. The last 8 games. So that's what they have left now. So we're at that point in the season. With all the injuries they've had, I don't really see this team getting to 500 like that, 3-3-2. But we'll see what happens. I see them going 3-5 this rest of this season. They have some tough teams. They're playing George Washington coming up this weekend, and they're top 4 right now in the A10. So UMass is sitting mid of the pack of the conference, a little bit above that. Hopefully they can hold their ground. Jackie Bruno, without a doubt, is going to be an improvement for that team. Maybe we can get things going a little bit, and we'll see how it goes the rest of the last 8 games.
Well, thank you very much, Phil. I mean, these girls are talented. We saw they made a really great late season push last year, and you never know, they could do it again this year.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that'll do it for us this week at UMass Sports Weekly. Remember to follow us on Twitter, like our page on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, use Periscope. I keep telling you, I tell you every week. It's a really good app. And any other social media site you can find us, follow us. I'm Tommy Kaludi, and have a great evening, UMass. We'll see you right back here next week.